I'm so glad to be back with you, and let me welcome all of our campuses, all of you guys, man, I love you. And I've had a chance, thank you for the chance to spend some time with my grandkids in Europe for, about 10 days. And I got a chance to read some, and one of those books that I read was called Grit. It's by Angela Duckworth, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. And I thought, that's the idea that we need to start this semester off with, because grit is something that you can actually grow in. I mean, you might not be the most talented person. Talent is natural, and that's good, man. We're glad. We're thankful for talented people. But grit is something that you can learn, and grit can grow. And I have the idea that grit beats talent every time over the long haul. So we want to talk about how to grow in grit, or you might say guts. Splagnon is what they said in the Greek with regard to your inner guts, fortitude, and how you can grow in that. And you say, well, why do I need to grow in that? Some of you are like, I need to grow in that. Because if you don't grow in that, there are things that are important that you'll quit at. And it may be like school. You're like, hey, you get into school the first semester, you get things and you get a class. You're like, I can't do this. I'm going to quit. And you drop a class and you're going to regret it. It may be something as important as a relationship, maybe your wife or your husband, and you're like, hey, I can't do this anymore. I'm just going to quit. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to run. It may be your job. And you get into a job and there's somebody that's over you and you know more than they know and they don't get you and, you're working hard and they're not working hard. And you're like, the answer is I will just quit. And let me challenge you this semester. I think God gave me this whole idea for a reason, because when you get into a position when it gets hard, I want to challenge you to think about the grace of God. Think about what you just sang, about all the victories that you have won and all the victories that are to come, that God is not done with you. God's going to help you, and do not quit. So you're saying, well, how do I know what my grit scale is? It just so happens on the Venture Church app, if you want to go there, you can do that now if you want to. While I'm preaching, you can take the test, and you can find out how gritty you are. And if you want to grow in grit, if you say, hey, I just don't think I can do that, well, that's your sign. You don't have enough energy to even take the test. So you can kind of know that you need to grow in grit. But today I want to kick off this series. We got 4 weeks of this, and man, all 4 weeks, you don't want to miss it. But today I want to talk to the generation that I think is probably the least gritty of all the generations that are alive today. You want to take a guess who it is? Now, if you were at the early service, you can't guess. Anybody want to guess the least gritty generation on the face of the earth? The millennials. Everybody says the millennials. You know who it is? It's not the millennials, it's the baby boomers. People born between 1946 and 1964, the people between the ages of 55 and 72 are the people that make up 1/3 of the U.S. population. There are almost 80 million baby boomers, and these people know how to live bougie lives. Matter of fact, a bougie, how many of you know what bougie means? Bougie is the... Bougie is the bourgeois class, the swag bag class, the ruling class. Look at somebody by you and say, hey, you're so bougie. Yeah, thank you. Well, here's the idea. Like if you're between 55 and 72, then I'm going to tell you, you're bougie. And I've been waiting for years to say this, because I am finally now in a category. I'm at the tail end. I'm one of the younger ones of the baby boomers. I think I really fit over with the millennials. But the reality is I get you and I'm your age, so I can talk to you. And I'm not trying to do it to be ugly. I'm trying to do it because I love you. Because we need you. You've got more money than you've ever had. You've got more margin than you've ever had. You've got more life experiences. We all want to be around you because you know things, you've done things, you've experienced things. And if you're not careful in the time you've got left, you will not be gritty. You will be bougie. And if you become bougie, I'm going to tell you, God's not going to bless that. There are no bougie believers. Now, I'm not saying you can't be a little bougie and be a little stylish. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you can't be bougie and be a disciple. You can't just be bougie and like say, hey, I'll do church when it fits me. See, if you're not careful, when you get older, you get 55, 65, 75, and you got a little money, and you're saying to yourself, I deserve to go. I deserve to do. This is my time. I have already done that. And you start going on cruises. That Alaskan cruise. There's nothing like freshwater salmon. You know, I was on a cruise one time, and it dawned on me, this is not the lifestyle I want to live. I mean, we were on the cruise, and the guy was trying to be funny, but he said, you know what a cruise is? He said, all a cruise is poop and eat, poop and eat, poop and eat, poop and eat. And I was like, that's nasty. I don't want that to be my legacy. Poop and eat, poop and eat, poop and eat. That's nasty. Listen, if you're a baby boomer, we need you. This is not to put you down. This is to lift you up. You don't need to be cruising. You need to crush it. I mean, this is a time in your life when you can do some amazing things. You don't have to go to Branson and, just Branson. No, bust it. Bust it for Jesus. You're closer than you've ever been to meeting Jesus. Don't go out in a cruise. If you drop over an Alaskan cruise, man, now what are you going to say to Jesus when you wake up and there he is? Well, I was cruising looking at that glacier that was all melted. Come on, man. Come on, man. Listen, we've got it backwards. I watch our students, and they go off to these amazing camps and these amazing experiences, and they take all these radical chances, and I'm like, we've got it backwards. It ought to be the baby boomers that are taking the risk. We ought to be the ones that are stepping out and leading. Why? Because we got one foot on a banana peel and one foot in heaven. I mean, you're going to meet him. And you're going to give an account for everything he's given you. Every second, every dollar, every teaching you've ever heard. And you want to be faithful. All the victories you have won, there's still more to come. Joshua, okay, chapter 14. You ready? Open your Bibles if you have your Bibles. And it may be that you've memorized it. You may not need your Bible. You probably know this passage. But Joshua chapter 14, verses 6 through 15. Let me give you the background so you kind of know what's going on. You know the book of Exodus. You know why it's called Exodus, because they exited out of Egypt. Moses spent 40 years kind of getting everybody ready to go, and he finally gets them to the edge of the promised land, and we know that the people, the Hebrews, were Baptists because they got to the edge of the promised land. They appointed a committee, and they're like, okay, we got to have a committee because we don't know. We don't need to trust God on this. We need a committee. And what we'll do is we'll put 10 older people that are smart and then 2 young people just to represent the young people. And so they went in, they came back, and they made a report. The committee made a report. And the 10 older ones said, we can't go. Heck no, we won't go. No to the no. I mean, so all of a sudden you're like, no. The 2 young guys go, we got to go. We got to go. God's given us the land. We can do this. Man, don't do it. Don't sin against God. They're, no, we're not going to do it. God says, let them go. Let them go. 40 years, going to let all the people over 40, going to let you die. Now, it's all in the Bible. I didn't make this up. I'm not being ugly about older people. I'm just telling you, they all died. And so run the clock forward 45 years, and you've got Caleb at the same place. He's at the edge of the promised land, and he makes a little speech. And I just think it's cool because I'm going to unpack it for you and do some expository preaching, verse by verse, exegetical, so you can get it. Usually I do suppository preaching, and it kind of goes with you through the week, and this is a little different. I shouldn't have said that. Chapter 14, verse 6. And right when it comes out of my mouth, sometimes you're like, this is not the right crowd. So verse 6 of chapter 14, I apologize. Verse 6, now the people of Judah approached Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, said to him, you know what the Lord said to Moses, the man of God at Kadesh Barnea, about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore out the land, and I brought back a report according to my convictions. But my fellow Israelites who went up with me made the hearts of the people melt in fear. I, however, followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. So on that day, Moses swore to me, the land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance. He promised it to me. And that of your children forever, because you have followed the Lord, my God, wholeheartedly. Now then, just as the Lord has promised, he has kept me alive 45 years since the time he said to Moses, while Israel moved about in the wilderness, so here I am. I'm 85 years old, exclamation point. I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out. I'm just as vigorous to go out into battle as I was then. Now give me the hill country that the Lord promised me that day. You yourself heard that the Anakites were there, and their cities were large and fortified, but the Lord helping me, I will drive them out just as he said. Then Joshua blessed Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and he gave him Hebron as an inheritance. So Hebron has belonged to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzites ever since, because he followed the Lord, the God of Israel, with his whole heart, wholeheartedly. Hebron used to be called Kiriath Arba, after Arba, who was one of the greatest men among the Anakites, the giants. And then the land had rest from war. Now I'm going to give you 6 things, because a lot of times we'll tell you to do stuff and we don't tell you how to do it. And if you're a baby boomer, or if you're 45, or you're bougie, I'm going to help you find ways for you to grow in grit by watching Caleb. And the first thing we see about Caleb was that he was engaged. Verse 6 says, I had convictions when the Lord told us to go into the land. He said, I had convictions that was what God was calling me to do, and that's not changed. Listen, when God convicts you of something, I don't care how old you are. Maybe you're driving down the road and you're listening to music and God convicts you. That is a conviction from God. And when you know it's from God, it matches the word, you know it's something good, you hold on to that, because if you get a hold of God's convictions, you will find a way to contribute. I mean, it's just natural. If God convicts you of something, maybe you were 7 and at a vacation Bible school, God convicted you of something, but you're 57 now, God has still convicted you to do something. And you say, well, I'm old and I can't do anything. Well, yes, you can. I'm going to help you. There's some things you can do. Everybody can do something with what God has given them. If nothing else, take one of these venture stickers like this right here and slap it on your Fleetwood Cadillac. And when you get like to a red light, you start bumping some Gaither. You start bumping some Gaither, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, you go over to Hi-Fi Cruiser, you got enough money to buy it, you can really be thumping it. And you get to the red light when there's other people. I get so tired of this. People driving up next to me and their highfalutin radios, bass hitting and booming. I mean, even motorcycles' radios louder than mine. And they're coming up beside me. So I roll down my window and put on some K-Love. And look, but if you've got a really good radio and some Gaither humming the trio, wow, man, you can make a difference. Everybody can do something with what God has given them, and you stay engaged. Verse 8 says that he followed God wholeheartedly. That word literally means enthusiasm. Do you know what enthusiasm means? In theos, it means in God. That when you're in God and you're in God's word and you're with God's people, all of a sudden it affects the way you feel. It affects the way you respond. I mean, Caleb for 40 years, all the things he's been through. Think about this. He was looked over. I mean, God says, look, we're going to choose Joshua. It was Caleb doing all the talking at the edge of the wilderness. I've never figured that out. My boy Caleb did all the right things. He was saying, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. We can do this. God's given it to us. And God chooses Joshua to lead the people. And Caleb never said, I can't believe he didn't choose me. I'll just wait out my time, 45 years. I'll go down to Nineveh, get under a cabana, drink some bushwhackers, and I'll just do whatever I want to do. He never said that. Why? Because he was in God. God was in him. He saw the glass half full. Now, can I say something about people that are older? I'm going to kind of throw us a bone here because the reality of the people that are older, there's a reason that we struggle and we're tired and we're a little bit negative. You know what it is? We had kids. Okay? Now you can just sit here and listen to this, because here's the reality. Like, I knew your parents, a lot of them, before you came along, and they were fun before you got here. And then all of a sudden, they were worn out, because I know what your goal is. Hey, whatever. Listen, your kids aren't happy until they've almost killed you, then they relax. So don't be too high and mighty, if you're a millennial, because the reason that, we're like we are because we're taking care of you. So, but the reality is we've seen a lot. In all fairness to us who are over 50, we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of hurt. We've had a lot of loss. I'm just going to be honest with you, it hurts. It frays you. It discourages you. It makes you cynical. Now when we get up, we hurt in places we used to not have. Like when I'm getting up out of the chair, I'm still like lean and mean. But sometimes when I get up, I'm thinking, wow, what is that? We're at a different place. In all fairness to us, we got a lot going on. And if you're not careful, if you're 50 and older, you'll sit down in the chair of death, the recliner. And then when you do that, most people die about 10 years before they stop breathing. Because you forget we got to stay in the game. He was expected. Verse 9 says, God promised me. He said, God promised me. He said, God said it, I believe it, and that settles it. He said, God promised me he was going to give me this thing. Listen, if God truly promises you something, he's going to come through. Now, some of you, what you're so upset about, because I talked to a few of you like during the week and during the weekend, and for some of you, like, hey, God's unfair. God's not good. No. You just hadn't waited long enough. You don't have enough grit. You're in the first quarter. You're going to win in the fourth quarter, but you're in the first quarter. And you got to be expecting if God has told you he's going to do something, and he's truly told you he's going to do it. He told me stuff about this church, and I was like, there's no way. I tried to leave 100 times. Like, Lord, please let the phone ring. And he said, no, you stay. You're going to stay. He said, if you get down to 12 people, you're staying. I was like, dang, I don't know if and we're going to wind up with 12 churches. Just be expected. The reason I don't preach old sermons, and I don't have to tell you that. I could rearrange some of it. You'd never know. Some of you, you don't listen that close. And so I could kind of rearrange it over the last 25. The reason I don't preach old sermons is because I expect God to do something new. I expect him to set people free from drugs, and I'm seeing it. I expect God to heal marriages, and I'm seeing it. I'm expecting a movement among the next generation like we've never seen before, and I'm seeing it. Listen, down in Gulfport, those people down there, let's give them a hand in Gulfport. Unbelievable. I was there last week. There's 40 or 50 people setting up and breaking down at 1:30 to 2 o'clock after church, and we're done. They're all going, yeah. And I see y'all in the parking lot. We having problems with people signing up to go in the parking lot after 11 o'clock service. Y'all getting like, whoa. But here's the reality. I expect more. We had 14 students that went to Beach Rally. 14. We didn't have a youth ministry. We got people down there that love youth. And they drummed up 14 people. 4 of them got saved. 4 of them got saved. Look, it's unbelievable. The things that are happening. I went into Zeke's, and I was going to get a salad, and the little girl said, hey, I know you don't know me, but I need to be baptized. I'm thinking, well, hey, let's write this down. And another guy comes, he goes, hey, what time do y'all services meet? I said, 9:30 to 11, 6 p.m. I thought, man, this is like, I'm not sure. I'm in here to preach. I ain't in here to eat. It's unbelievable what God is doing. This happens all the time. There are stories I can't tell you because God brings people and they will show up and say, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm supposed to talk to you. And I said, well, let me tell you about Jesus. Happens all the time. I can't explain it. I'm not being weird. I'm not Jesus juking you. I'm not trying to be bougie. I'm just telling you God is moving and I expect more. He was excited. Number 4. He said, I'm 85 and I'm still here. That's a lot of excitement with that. He said, I'm still alive. Listen, there are 10,000 ways you can die today. I know that's not very encouraging. Every day's a gift. Every day's an opportunity. You say, well, what do I need to kind of be excited about this gift? You need hope. You need hope. You need something to hope for. Let me give you a bad example. And this is so fleshly. I feel so bad to be this week. You know, the one thing I've had hope for this fall, I said, Lord, please wait and come back February the 10th because there's football season. Is anybody else felt, am I the only one that's like that? I'm sorry, y'all are godly people. And praise God for you. You need hope. Hope that God's going to do something. Faith is the evidence of things not seen. It's the idea that the substance of things we hope for, the evidence of things not seen. It's the idea that you need something to hope for. It is the key ingredient. You say, well, how do I know if I have hope? Well, let me ask you about your conversations. Are you talking more about what God is doing in the future or what God did in the past? In your life right now, when you're having conversations with people, is it about looking through the windshield or looking through the rearview mirror? Are you talking about the good old days? If you are, stop it. Your kids have told me to tell you, stop it. They don't want to hear about you walking uphill both ways in the snow, taking a large bucket with a cold biscuit. They don't care. Put some money in the offering plate for that one, brother. Stop it. Because God has something for you now. These are the good old days. He was energetic. He said, I'm just as vigorous at 85. He said, well, that's 85. That's back then. No, 85 is 85. It's pretty much 85 is 85. Like in Hebrew, 85 in English means 85. He says, I'm still just as energetic as I was then. And you're like, how does he do that? You know how he did it? He stayed in the game. He stayed in the game. He didn't go, well, you know, I got a Heisman you on that because we kept the nursery when our kids were little. I got a Heisman on that because I did all that one day. And I've worked hard to make a living. I've worked hard. I've earned it the old-fashioned way. I've earned it as somebody else, as young people. No, he didn't say that. He stayed in the game. He stayed fluid. Listen, there's a guy are there some people you just don't like that much? I've got a guy like that. Like, don't raise your hand or point at him. I mean, goodness. Yeah, he's right there on that thing. Stop it. Y'all ain't right. It's Tom Brady. I just don't like Tom Brady. I don't know why. I'm sorry, bro. I got to say it to you. But like, thank you. Yeah, praise the Lord. Yeah, you know he ain't right. You know he ain't saved. You know he ain't going to make it. And so he's walking. You know, and when he walks, I get mad. Just walking, I get mad at him. And I don't know why it is. I'm sure we're probably good friends. And you know, I think I could punch him and get away because he's so slow. You ever seen him run? I could get away from him. I'm sorry, this is not comedy, Albert. I just got to tell you, that's how I feel. I needed this. I've been gone. I needed this. But it dawned on me the reason Tom is still in the game at 42, his birthday was yesterday. I'm not obsessed with him. It's the idea he has worked out. His time on the 40 is faster at 42 than it was at 22. Google it. I know what the guy's going, yeah, it's because of Gazelle. Bro, she'd kill you. You couldn't outrun Gazelle. Listen, it's the idea you stay in the game. You don't stop. God's got a plan for you. Caleb had a 30-year plan. If you're 85, have a 30-year plan. He was 115 when the Lord took him. You know why? Because God was done. You better be careful because when God gets you say, well, I'm done, God. I'm done, God. I've done, God. He'll get you on the next load. He was an example, and I love this. Here's Caleb at 85, and there's all these young guys around him. This is what we dream of as young men. I'm still a young guy. My heroes are all older than me. And he's standing there, and he's 85, and he looks up at the hill country where the Anakites are. You know the Anakites? That was Goliath's crib. Okay, that was his homies. That was his family. They were 9 feet tall. And they had these palaces, like the fort, the walls around the palaces were 6 stories high. These guys were animals, okay? They had their spears at the end. The head of the spear weighed 60 pounds. And here's Caleb, and he goes, here's the oldest guy in the room. He goes, I'll tell you what, we want them up there. I want the hill country. And you know what those young kids are doing behind him? Let's go get him. They're waiting for one person that's older to lead the way. Listen, folks, God's not done with you. Men especially, God is not done with you. Your greatest season of leverage, you need to write this down. And you can research this because I am telling you the truth. Your greatest days for influence are between 50 and 80. Byron Malone says that young people, he's worked with young people for 30 or 40 years, he said young people will naturally gravitate toward the oldest positive person in the room. You're not done. You're just warming up. And a lot of you are like me, like my granddaddies. I mean, it was my grandmothers that got this. My grandmothers invested. My granddaddies, you know, all I've ever heard them say was, that was it. I'm not trying to be funny. And my granddad did say one time to me, he said, son, don't drink that tea, it's still hot. I'd never heard, he scared me. Like, I didn't mind about the tea, I just never heard him speak. Papa Kurt, okay? Don't be like that. I love them, thank God for them. That was their generation. But you're in a generation where you can influence people. Listen, they're waiting to hear from you. They're waiting to follow you. You say, well, you're not 85. My father-in-law is. Goes to this church. President of the Mississippi Baptist Convention. Wore a suit. Back when they had a 3-piece suit. I mean, he like when they took blood, a hymn came out. And you know what he does when he comes here at 80, almost 85? Puts on the yellow shirt that says, how can I help? And he doesn't know that he's not here today. I'm glad, because I'd be embarrassed to say this in front of him. But sometimes I just look at him and think, I want to be like that. I want to be like that. We go in a room, and I don't know, but in Hattiesburg, I'm a big deal. So we're in a room together, and people will walk past me to see my father-in-law. And I've tried to figure that out. You know what he does? Because he meets you, he'll write your name down. He's got a note card. It's like this little treasure chest. He whips it out, and he's got a pen. He writes it down. And he goes back and studies it. And he'll ask me about you, and I'll go, I think they're doing good. And he serves. He's an example. He never quit. He's out of town now trying to preach. I hope they make it back. He just never... Why do you want to do it? We've got a tool. Before I kind of race through that, see, a lot of guys are like me, you know, that I finally found something that anybody can do to lead a group and influence people. Because what young men are trying to get from older men is not your biblical knowledge and expertise. They want to get to know you. And so I had this idea, when you let me go off, I get crazy. Okay, like the HelloFresh, the little box with all the food in it, it dawned on me, like a 10-year-old can be a gourmet cook if they take the little menu and they kind of look at, put the chicken over here, and put the beans over here, and put the broccoli over here, and turn on the stove, and they put it in, and voila. I thought, man, why can't we do that with groups? Why can't we have a fresh word with groups that anybody can do, so that if you don't have all the background, you can still push play and lead a group and get to know these people. So here's what it looks like. I want you to see this and do it real quick. hear that from the death chair. I mean, this is that simple. And then you got questions and talk to them. You know what they really want? They want to be around you. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be a theologian. A lot of it is showing up and having confidence that you can do. Go through your venture. If you haven't been through your venture, first and third is the first week, is the first session. The second and fourth week is the second session. Man, go through your venture, go through your venture, go through your venture. The last thing is because you're leaving a legacy. It's endowment. Do you know what happened to all of Caleb's family? They got the high country. He left it for them. Listen, you're leaving a legacy. What your kids need from you is not your 401k. They need your faith. They need your faith. It's wind. God's trying to speak to you. Fresh wind. They need your faith. Give them something to follow. There's more in you. God has more for you. Your family's watching you. Your grandkids are watching. I want you to bow your heads. I know I've gone over time. I know you're thinking, will he ever get through? Listen, if I could just pour this into your brain. I wish I could pour it into Steve Jobs' brain, because he left $10.2 billion to a little girl that wrote a book about him called Little Friar. Small fry. And the whole book, I had to put it down because I was having nightmares of the legacy that her daddy left to her. It's not too late to change. Father in heaven, I thank you. I love you, God. I love these people. Lord, there's so much I want to say. And God, I know I get another shot at it, but it's like right now is the day of salvation. It's the day when things can happen. To keep putting off letting you use them, God, it's just a death knell. And so, Father, I pray you would speak to our hearts, speak to our minds. God, help us to come alive with what it means to have our purpose found in you, to understand that you've given us spiritual gifts, that you've got a plan for our lives, even for 85. Father, do a new work in our hearts, and I pray all these things in Jesus' name.